Of course, my friend. I realized the previous chapter 4 introduced the mysterious note on the phone a little earlier than I wanted. Since this is going to be a long series, I'd rather let the mystery unfold more naturally. Here's the official chapter 4 that we'll build the rest of the story from. Chapter 4: Ordinary Days. For the first time since waking up in 2019, Maria wasn't thinking about dying. She was thinking about breakfast. The smell of bacon drifted through the house as sunlight spilled through the kitchen windows. Buddy was trying to balance a slice of toast on his head while Tommy insisted it was physically impossible. "It'll stay there," Buddy declared proudly. "It won't," Tommy replied. "It will. It will. It won't." Buddy carefully let go. The toast immediately slid onto the floor. Tommy folded his arms with a grin. "Told you." Buddy looked down at the toast before looking back at Tommy. "I wasn't finished." He picked it up, placed it back on his head, and stood perfectly still. This time, it stayed. The entire kitchen burst into laughter. Even June had to turn away to hide a smile. Toklim shook his head. "I have absolutely no idea how 6 children can create this much noise before 9 in the morning." "You love it, really," June said. Toklim smiled. "I do." Maria watched them from her chair. Only a week ago, she'd believed she'd never hear this laughter again. Now she was surrounded by it. She silently promised herself she would never complain about noisy breakfasts again. After breakfast, Toklim announced he had a surprise. "We're going somewhere." "Where?" Buddy asked. "If I told you, it wouldn't be a surprise," Crystal finished with a smile. "Exactly." 20 minutes later, they pulled into a large country park. The ground sparkled with frost. A narrow river wound its way through the trees, and children chased ducks along the bank while parents laughed behind them. Buddy took off running almost immediately. "Race you to the bridge," Tommy sprinted after him. "No fair." Maria smiled as she followed at a slower pace beside June. "It feels nice, doesn't it?" June asked. What does?" "Seeing you smile again." Maria looked down. "Was I smiling?" "You didn't even realize." June gently linked her arm through Maria's. "I've missed that smile." Maria felt a lump rise in her throat. If only June knew why. The family spent hours walking through the park. Toklim challenged everyone to see who could throw a stone the furthest across the river. Jack won. He celebrated like he'd just won the World Cup. "I'd like to thank everyone who believed in me." "Nobody believed in you," Stacy laughed. "That's what makes this victory even sweeter." Crystal rolled her eyes. "He's impossible." Maria laughed so hard her stomach hurt. She'd forgotten how naturally happiness could sneak up on you, for just a little while. She wasn't thinking about Christmas. She wasn't counting the days. She was simply Maria, a 14-year-old girl spending time with the people she loved most. On the way home, traffic slowed to a stop. Blue flashing lights reflected in the car windows. An ambulance sat across the road. 2 cars had collided at a junction. Nobody appeared seriously hurt, but Maria's breathing became uneven. Her hands trembled, the sound of sirens, the crushed metal. For one terrible second, she wasn't in 2019 anymore. She was back on Christmas Day. "Maria?" June's gentle voice broke through the memory. Maria blinked. She hadn't realized she'd started crying. June quietly took her hand. "It's all right." Maria nodded, unable to speak. Toklim looked at her in the rearview mirror. Neither he nor June asked any questions. They simply stayed close. Sometimes, love meant knowing when not to ask. That evening, Maria stood alone in the garden. The winter sky was clear. Thousands of stars stretched across the darkness. She remembered something her grandmother had once told her. The people we love never truly leave us. They live in every memory we keep. Maria looked back through the kitchen window. Inside, Buddy was dancing around with a wooden spoon like it was a microphone. Crystal was trying and failing not to laugh. Tommy was pretending to conduct an imaginary orchestra. Susie was helping June prepare dinner. Jack had somehow convinced Toklim to play a game of cards. The house glowed with warmth. Maria placed a hand over her heart. "I won't lose you." She whispered it to the night. "I don't care how hard this gets. I'll save every one of you." Later, long after everyone had gone to bed, Maria unlocked her phone. The battery still read 93%. She opened the gallery. Her thumb stopped on one photograph. It had been taken on Christmas morning in 2026. Everyone stood in front of the tree wearing matching Christmas jumpers. Buddy had chocolate on his face. Crystal was laughing. June had her arm around Toklim. Jack had photobombed the picture. It looked like the happiest Christmas they'd ever had. Maria smiled. Then her smile faded, because she knew something the photograph couldn't show, less than 3 hours later. Every person in that picture except her would be gone. A single tear rolled down her cheek. She carefully locked the phone and slipped it back into the drawer. "No," she whispered into the darkness. "Not this time." Outside, the wind gently rustled the bare branches. Inside the Wilson house, everyone slept peacefully. None of them knew that one 14-year-old girl had made it her life's mission to protect them. And somewhere beyond the quiet winter night, the future was already waiting. This chapter doesn't have a huge twist, and that's intentional. A novel needs quieter chapters where readers simply fall in love with the characters. Later,